to check this truck out while I'm doing my brake. I just filled up my reefer, as you can see here. It's full. I generally check out everything while I'm fueling, but I try to get out of the way at the fuel island. And yes, this is a 5-pound hammer, by the way. It does a little bit better job, to me, just in my humble opinion, than a regular tire thumper. Had to put this seal on here. These produce loads, I'm hauling watermelons, by the way, from Nogales, Arizona. There's I-10. Yep, we're in West Texas, folks. We're gonna finish out our trip tonight and get to where I gotta get to in the Houston area. Get there tonight about 10, 11 o'clock tonight. Park there. Get my brake in, unload in the morning, and go from there. We'll find out where we're going from that point. Yep. Of course, I hadn't had a shower yet. I'm not far from that. But yeah, I stopped here in Fort Stockton, Texas to fuel, and check my truck out real fast. I pulled over here out in the parking lot to get out of the way. Unlike a lot of people that sit there and do their 30-minute break in the fuel island, I try to get out of the way. I probably could have done my 30-minute break there, but it was a guy pulled up behind me. So I just, did a yard move over here and parked. Wasn't that big of a deal. And I'm checking my truck out. I just put my seal on. And I'm just checking my truck out, taking the tires out real fast. Something you need to do. And I call it, I guess you could call it like an all-day pre-trip, for lack of a better term. You want to do a good pre-trip in the mornings, but I tend to do it, whenever I stop. I just kind of walk around and check everything out. One thing I will show that some people don't, it's not that hard to see. When you're doing a pre-trip, as you're walking around and you thumping your tires and all that, you can stand right here and you can see the inside of your tire wall. Well, if you see any kind of liquid or anything out of the ordinary, it'll show up, it'll show up somewhere in that area. Liquid is what you're mainly looking for. If you see liquid on the inside of that tire wall, you need to stop, because that's a major malfunction getting ready to happen. And it don't take just a second to look at it. Just kind of visually take a quick look at it, and pull the reefer. You got your little door right here. Checking your seal, making sure everything's intact. But just little simple things. Checking in your mud flap hanger. This got the tire inflation system and 2 hoses in the form. Everything's good on that. You just visually look at your lug nuts. You don't see any rust or anything. I generally just kind of touch your mud flap hangers. hear any air or anything. Let's do a little checking it out. This is daytime. I'll check my, I already checked my lights. I already know they're good. When I do this, I generally just check it. I'm just looking at the thing, looking at the tires. And I pull a reefer. So this load here, I gotta run it at 50 degrees. And it being a produce load, yeah, part of what I'm checking for also is I'm looking at my reefer. On these produce loads, we have two settings on these reefers. You got what they call cycle century. That's the official name for it. Most of us drivers just call it stop start. You know what it does on stop start or cycle century. You set the temperature. Let's just say you set it at 20 degrees. All right. It's gonna, what it'll do if it's on cycle century, it'll run down to 20 degrees and then it'll cut off. All right. Then there's about a 5, depending on the unit. I got a Thermo King on here, which I think is the best. It's a little bit quieter. Carrier, there's nothing really wrong with it. I just think Thermo King's a little bit better. That's just my personal opinion. You know what they say about opinions. But that's just mine. So, but it'll run down to 20 degrees and then it'll shut off. Then it'll run when it gets about 25. Some of them have about a 5 or 6 degree temperature difference on it. Well, when it gets to 25, 26 degrees, then it'll cut back on. And what that's supposed to do is save fuel. Because it's got it's got a pretty good sized tank on here. About 40, 50 gallons depending on. I mean, it's a pretty good bit of fuel, but it'll save on that fuel running at stop start like that. Well, on a produce load like this, I've got watermelons. You have to run what we call continuous, and that means the reefer's running continually. It never stops. And this is going, the customer, they're going to check it. They've got a temperature checker in the back of the trailer, and it'll record the temperature. It'll show if it went up and down, or if it's a straight line or whatever. It's got a temp. They check the recorder on there. Well, this particular customer, if they see it going up and down, they'll reject this entire load. Well, naturally, I don't want that to happen. My company don't want that to happen. The customer don't want that to happen. So you have to keep it on continuous. And the reason that is produce, any produce, is you got to keep air flowing across it. And it just helps keep it where they want it. So that being said, you have to babysit it a little bit more. And there's a light, I've probably heard this from other channels, but there's a light that shines right there. You can see it in this mirror. And on Thermo King is a T. It's a white T Whenever it's white, you're good. Even on carrier, it's a green light. And it shines right here on this side, so you can see it in the mirror. You know, way you can keep an eye on it as you drive down the road. At any point that light turns yellow, you need to pull over and you need to check out what's going on right then, or as soon as possible. Because something's going on, there's a code or something's happened to make it do that. So, fortunately, I hadn't had to deal with that too much. Just people here, and they run pretty new equipment. They can actually diagnose it and check it out from the office. If I have a frozen load, normally we run it on stop start, and I've got it at -10, and I've got it on continuous. Well, of course that's going to keep the load cold, but it's going to burn more fuel. Well, my company, I may have left it on by accident, not paying attention to what I was doing. Well, my company can see that, and they can go in the computer and change it to Cycle Sentry as I'm driving down the road, and I won't even know it. I mean, pretty good. I like that technology. I mean, they can diagnose something. They might can see a problem, a code that I can't see, you know, or they might can fix it quicker on their end than I can on this end. I might can just hit a code. It's got a thing on here where you can clear the codes out. If it's throwing a code, it's got yellow lights gonna come on. It could be the air's being blocked somewhere, flowing, any number of things. But it'll throw a code, and if there's a problem, then, like I said, that yellow light comes on, and then you pull over, you check it out, and a lot of times it's just you just go up there and hit mode, and you scroll down. There's a little bit of a process. You scroll down, and you can clear the codes out, and then you're good to go. Anyway, fuel level, all that type of stuff. It'll do all that. But anyway, I'm getting ready to ease on down the road, as they say. And yep, I got about 7 hours to go to my destination, and I will do a little bit more tomorrow when I'm unloading. And anyway, we'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Talk to you later. Good morning, everybody. Here it is, Sunday morning, about 6 a.m. Time changed last night. We're back into our dock at DC here in just around Houston, Texas. We got a load of watermelons. I'm gonna show you how I drop the trailer. I don't think I've seen too many people drop a trailer. Number one, I ain't never seen anybody show y'all this. You don't ever want to stand in front of this handle. I see people crank it down all the time, but don't ever stand in front of it. You want to dolly it down. I see this a lot. These trucks have airbags on them. You know what I'm saying? So you don't ever want to keep your head in line of sight of this thing. I always want to stand. Plus it's got 2 speeds. I've got it in high gear, obviously. But you don't ever want to stand in front of this thing. Because when it has pressure on it, it could pop back and hit you. So you always want to stand clear of it. And, you know, make sure, and then as soon as this thing touches the ground, it just now touched the ground, you'll feel the pressure on it. Crank it. 1 turn. Alright. And then pull the 5th wheel. Sorry, I can't see this too good. That's all you do. And then, when you do that, this thing has airbags on it. You take if I can find it. You hear that? It's dumping the air out of the airbags. Alright. So what it's doing is it's lowering the trailer down. Here at these Walmarts, they want you to pull forward, so I pull forward a little bit. Alright. I've pulled forward, I've disconnected. The thing is, when you drop these things, you don't want to drop it high. You see what I'm saying? So when I drop it down, see those airbags right there? You want to drop the trailer down. That way when you go to back up underneath it, it'll lift the trailer up and take pressure off these legs. And then that way it's not so hard to crank that handle. Because a lot of people, they'll crank them legs down, and they'll keep cranking on it, and they'll make it harder on themselves when it's really not that difficult. You just drop it down till it touches the ground. Give it about a full turn. Anywhere, really could just leave it alone as soon as it touches the ground. Some people wait. They'll let it touch the ground and they'll raise it back up 1 turn, about 1 inch off the ground, and then they'll drop the trailer. Then they'll drop their airbag. That way, when they back underneath it, it lifts the trailer up, it lifts the legs off the ground, and it's not as difficult. But if you back underneath one of these things, and you got a 40-something thousand pound load inside of here, especially if it's high, you don't want it to be any space. See how this space right there from the 5th wheel to the trailer? That's because I dumped my airbag. And when I go to back underneath it, I'll fill them back up and I'll back underneath it and lift it up, and it won't be so difficult. Even though it's easy for the empty trailer. That's how you do it. That's how I've always done it. And when you're cranking that handle, don't stand us to the side of it. That thing, if it's got a lot of pressure on it, it can. I was taught not to stand on it so it don't hit you in the head. So that was a long time. I had everything I was taught by old hands, old drivers. You can say what you want to about old drivers, but you know, they taught me some good stuff back in those days. But that's how I was taught to drop a trailer. they rejected the entire load of this watermelon I brought from Arizona. Not too far. But this is how you rehook the trailer. I always come back in after I unhook it, put the air lines back up. And then I give it the air. Give it the air, and then because I didn't crank my hand, leave my trailer legs all day. So difficult. See? It just comes right up. I like to shoot the air. I like to shoot the air to it when I'm doing a pre-trip. Once I hook to a trailer, I'll hook everything up, and then I'll give the air to the trailer, and I'll turn my lights on. It's got a light test switch in here. It turns all the lights on. Mainly what I'm listening for when I walk around the trailer, when I hook up to it, I'm listening for air leads. So that's how I hook back up to the trailer. Well, good morning, everybody. Show off my concert shirt, my concert swag. From about a month ago. Well, I just had my first load rejected. I love how you kill yourself for these folks to get over here, for them to just reject it. There, my company's looking to see what to do with the load now. Got here on time. Got here actually about 45 minutes early. I'm supposed to be here at 6. I got here about quarter after 5, excuse me. And got into a door, no problem. And I waited. What time is it? I waited 3 hours. 3 hours for them to let me know they rejected the load. There's a load of watermelons, seedless watermelons from Mexico. They said they claimed it had worms in it. But I got a load 2 weeks ago from Nogales. It was a different produce house. Had no problem. It actually even brought it to Houston, but it went to a different location. Had no problem. So I don't see how. I mean, it just is what it is. I don't know if they're going to have me go back to the yard. Our yard's about 4 hours from here, up in Arkansas. So, not sure if they're going to have me go up there and take the load up there, or what they're going to do. So, I'm in this little dirt lot right here at this DC. Thankfully, I got me some food in here. Thanks to one of the channels I watch, Trucker Gal. Thank you. Taught me how to cook in the truck, for lack of a better word. It's working out pretty good. So thank you. And anyway, we're gonna figure out what's going on here. I'm just chilling right now. Got nothing to do. I almost kind of wonder if they didn't know this or have suspected this, because normally they stack loads. Like as soon as I unload, they already got me dispatched on another load, and they didn't do that on this one. So I'm kind of wondering, if they didn't already kind of suspect something. So anyway, we're gonna. It's just part of trucking. Got to roll with it. See my nice, clean shaven face. Got me a shower yesterday. Feels good. I need to get me some kind of Norelco, or maybe I'll get me maybe Santa Claus will bring that to me for Christmas. We'll see. It'd be nice. But anyway, watching all these vehicles go by here. Yeah, this is one of the bands I like. I saw them in Destin, Florida, about a month or so ago, right before I came back to work. It was actually the day I got released from my doctor. I had to go to Atlanta to Emory Hospital. That's where they did my surgery at. It was Emory Hospital. Actually, it's called Emory Clinic. It's a research hospital. It was only I was told. That's all I got to go by. I was told there was only three places that could even do that surgery that I had. And the doctor I had, her name is Dr. Wong. Very tight. She's a real short lady, very young. But as far as I'm concerned, she has a presence like Mount Everest, as far as I'm concerned. So her and her team, that was a whole team that performed that surgery. So I thank her, and I thank her abilities, and I thank the good Lord every day for getting me through all that. I had to walk from my truck to the office a minute ago to get my paperwork, and normally I would have rehooked my trailer and pulled up there, and because I couldn't walk that far. This time I walked up there, it was probably a couple hundred yards easily each way, and that would have been like trying to walk a marathon before all this. I walked up there no problem. So I still thank her, thank that team, thank that hospital, thank the good Lord, because I didn't have any involvement in that other than it was in me. So, but I thank the people that I watch on YouTube, and I've learned a lot from people that hadn't been driving nowhere near as long as I have, and cooking and just staying in somewhat relative shape, getting back into shape. So I thank y'all. Y'all inspire me. So we're going to find out what's going on with this and then go from there. And when I find out, I'll let y'all know. Talk to y'all later. See ya. Well, we got a little bit of fiasco cleared up. The load was rejected at the Walmart a little bit north of Houston. They claimed there was worms in it. So there's a couple different ways you can handle that. Our company found another place. I had to come about 3 hours up the road. I had to come back up the road, back west to San Antonio, to this produce market. Let me see if I can give you an idea of what it looks like. Just a big market, you know. Fortunately, dispatcher, he's on top of things as usual. He's a young guy, but he's pretty smart. I like that. He got in touch with these people. They're actually closed today, and but he got in touch with the guy, and he met me over here. He got me to give him an ETA, and I told him between 1 and 1:30 I'd be here. I got here about 1:15, 1:20, something like that, and the guy was sitting over here waiting on me. So that was pretty cool. He's inside unloading it now. I don't really, just my honest opinion, I don't think the load had worms in it. I mean, Walmart's famous for doing stuff like this. They find any little reason in the world. Most of the ones I've been to, I hadn't had too much problem with. I mean, they pretty straightforward. I've had a couple that sketchy. This is the first time I've ever had a load rejected like this. So but I forgot to put myself off duty. There we go. Anyway, that's just the way it goes, you know. He's gonna unload me, and then I got to deadhead, or for a better term, that's trucker lingo, deadhead. That means we're driving with the trailer empty. No load on the trailer. We call that deadhead. Deadhead to Fort Worth, Texas, which is pretty away from here. But I would go up there to a facility, a cold storage place up there, get a load, and take it back to Arkansas to our yard. And it almost, this has been the routine the last couple of weeks. I hope he's going to do it again. He usually sends me to Arizona, to Texas. I usually go up around somewhere in Dallas or somewhere in this area and get a load, take it back to our yard in Arkansas, drop it there, and then they'll reload me out of a place around our yard in Arkansas and take it to Alabama. And I drop the trailer there. No, I don't drop the trailer, but I unload there, live unload. We drop trailers and we live unload. Live unload is when you back up to a dock and they take, just like they're doing now, they take the stuff off the trailer. We call that a live unload. A drop is what I'll be doing when I get to our yard. I'll take this trailer and actually drop it, and I'll leave the paperwork. There's like a little compartment that I put it in, and when I say I don't mean that I'm not trying to say that my way is the right way. It's just the way I do it. You know, it's the way I was taught. It's not the gospel by no stretch of the imagination. Is the gospel. There's better ways. I'm sure there's better ways for it to be done, but this is just how I do it. It works for me. It may not work for somebody else, but I take the paperwork, leave it with the trailer, and I'll unhook from it, and I'll actually leave the trailer at that yard, and then I will go either grab another empty trailer from our yard and take it to where I'm going to go reload at, or I'll go down there and there'll be a trailer that's already been sent down there already, and it'll either be preloaded. That means they've already got it loaded and probably got it sitting on a yard somewhere close by at that facility, and I'll just hook to it, get the paperwork, and then I'll take off. It just depends. But I mean, I hope that's what he does. I mean, that's what he's been doing the last couple of weeks. So I'm liking this routine. If I go to Arizona again, I don't think I'm going to go I-40. I think I'm going to go south. The last 2 times I've been out that way, I run into snow and ice, and it's not. I don't mind the snow. The ice is a different situation. And I've got snow chains on this truck. I was taught, and I have a mindset that if you got to run snow chains on the truck to drive to get down the road, it's too dangerous to be driving. That's just how I see it. Now, if I have to run them, I'll run them, but I don't want to. Yeah, it's just running chain. I've never had to put them on there. They probably not that hard to put on. I've never had, in the 20-something years that I've driven, I've never once put a set of chains on tires. You know, I keep an eye on the weather as far as wind and going across Wyoming and places like that. First this year and the end of last year, I was going across Wyoming, and they had Wyoming closed. My load, it said I-80, which was the interstate I was on at the time, was closed to light, high-profile vehicles. Well, the load I had was probably 30. A light load is probably anything under about 35,000 pounds. I mean, anything 35 is about the threshold. Anything above 35 you're starting to get into the heavier category. You want to be, to me, you want to be minimum 35. If you want to be heavier than that. But if you're under 35,000 and the winds are blowing across there in Wyoming or something, or any place like that, I-25 going from Cheyenne down to Denver, Amarillo, going across I-40, just any place, you got to keep an eye on the forecast for wind. There's all kind of little apps that show wind direction, speed, that type of thing. I use one that shows live radar, shows the wind speeds, the direction, any kind of alerts. That's just what I use. It helps. But when I was going across there last year, I actually had to stop. I actually had to stop twice, going and coming. I was going to Salt Lake City, and I had to stop because the wind was blowing so hard, and I pulled into a truck stop right there in Cheyenne, and I was in a lower spot, trucks on both sides, and the wind was hitting the top of my trailer and just shaking. It felt like I was in a roller coaster or something. The wind was probably blowing 75, 80 miles an hour. You know, it'll blow, and my load didn't weigh but about maybe 24,000 pounds. It would have blown me right over. And when the warning was over with, then I went on down the road. And when I left, you get down there around Laramie? Yeah, when you get close to Laramie, there's a big hill there, and there was 3 trucks, basically 100 yards apart, that were blown over. So if I had gone across there, I'd have probably been in one of them. And to this, knock on wood, to this day, I have not had that type of situation happen. I try to have a pretty clean driving record. So, but you just gotta always be thinking ahead, looking out for the forecast and the weather conditions and that type of thing. So if he sends it back to Arizona, I'm probably gonna run south this time. It might be a little bit longer, but I'd rather go south and not have to deal with ice and snow. Because the other night I was going down through there. I had I-17 from Flagstaff to Phoenix, and there was a rest area and trucks that pulled off in to get off the road from the snow, and they were all slid, catty cornered, and slid off and everything. And they were all in there and they were trapped. So I don't want that. You know, good Lord will keep looking out for me on that day too. So, but we're gonna unload here. He's actually unloading me now, and then I'll go, like I said, to Fort Worth, get this load, take it to Arkansas, drop the trailer, and go to bed. I'll probably be up there tonight sometime, hopefully. And hopefully this place And Fort Worth won't take too long to load. I don't think I've been to that place specifically yet, but for the most part, when you go to an Americold or someplace, you're gonna be sitting there a while. That's just, you just expect it. So hopefully that's not gonna be the case. I'll get up there and get loaded, be able to get up there, because it's not been about maybe 4 hours or so. Try a yard from there. So anyway, I might film a little bit more and then close this thing out. Anyway, hope y'all doing good. Talk to you later. See you.